Hi guys, welcome to our channel. We have started a new series about movies reviews and also provide the new movies update news, in which we will tell you about a movie, what's good and bad in this movie. Today we will give a news about all 58 theatrically released Marvel movies ranked. Decades of big screen Marvel adaptation demand on a long ranked list. This is tagged list as the New Mutants, has into theaters at least the one that have managed to reopen due to the pandemic. We'll look back at every movie based on Marvel Comics that has opened theatrically. Let's start now our countdown. On 58, Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, just a nightmare. A total nightmare. There have been a number of bad superheroes movies, but from the talking gas could be the filmmaker cast as Galactus to Jessica Alba. Die job this one, Stone seconds bad. On 57, X-Men Origin Wolverine, a total chaotic stir fry of nonsense that tells the story of how Wolverine got his claws. Features an early version of Deadpool, also played by Ryan Reynolds, whose mouth is spelled shut, which should tell you all you need to know about it. On 56, Elektra, that 5 minutes when they tried to turn Jennifer Garner into action star went about as well as it should have. On 55, X-Men The Last Stand, it's just a total mess. Incoherent from the word go. After losing director of the first two X-Men films, Bryan Singer to the first Superman reboot attempt, replacement Matthew Vaughn gave way to eventual director Brett Ratner, who might have killed off the superhero genre entirely were Spider-Man not blowing up the box office. On 54, Fantastic Four 2015. There could maybe have been a good movie in here somewhere. The cast Michael B. Jordan, Miles Teller, Kat Mara certainly warranted one. But this Frankenstein of a film is a behind-the-scenes horror story and you can see it in the totally disjointed final product. On 53, Daredevil. This was basically early 2000th century. The movie with Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner, Colin Farrell and the Michael Clarke Duncan as the main players. The cherry on the top of this red Saturday was the damn Avengers song. On 52, Fantastic Four 2005, Tim Story's first Fantastic Four is just sort of there challenging you to remember it exists. With Chris Evans, who played the Human Torch, here going on to embody Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that gets tougher every year. On 51, The Punisher 2004. This is The Punisher as a straight round thriller and it's not bad. Thomas John performed admirably, but the whole thing is missing that extra something that would have elevated it beyond standard Gen fare. Setting it in Tampa didn't help. Number 50, Spider-Man frame may be the bad outweighs the good here, but Emma Peter Parker dance number remains one of the greatest single moments in any comic book movie story hitters. On 49, Howard the Duck. A notorious flop at the box office and yeah, it's not exactly good. But now, 30 years removed from its premiere, Howard the Duck is a pretty fun and relic of the 80s. On 48, The Punisher 1989. Dolph Lundgren and Liz Goss's star in a low-rent 18 grunge sea-level classic. This one's all novelty value. On 47, Ghost Rider. For a movie starring Nick Cage about a dude who rides a Harley and turns into a flaming skeleton, this is a surprisingly mundane movie. On 46, The Amazing Spider-Man. We may never figure out what went wrong with the Mark Webb Spider-Man duology, but his choice of Andrew Garfield to play Peter Parker is still brilliant. It just sucks that this movie doesn't really make any sense. On 45, X-Men. The beginning of the current wave of theatrical superhero movie X-Men was kind of a cheap and it showed. Novel at the time, now it just comes off an unremarkable mid-budget action fear as Fox was merely sticking its toe in the superhero water. Timid. On 44, Incredible Hulk. It's sometimes hard to remember that this one counts as part of the MCU since it placed Eddie Norton in the Dr. Banner role since inhabited by Mark Ruffalo in the Avengers film. It's also hard to remember because it's generally not memorable. On 43, Thor. The fantasy Marvel movie is directed by Kenneth Branagh, who covers the whole movie in canted angle shots and theatrical stylings. It's pretty boring also, but at least it's looked cool. On 42, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. More of the same impossible to follow hacks and slash plotting from the previous movie, offset by Andrew Garfield continuing to be awesome and Jamie Foxx going way over the top as the big bad. On 41, Thor: The Dark World. The Dark World, in contrast to the first Thor movie, is certainly not boring. If anything, it suffers the opposite problem, going so hard and fast that it loses substance. On 40, Blade Trinity. Starring a pre-Deadpool Rand Reynolds basically playing a vampire, starring Deadpool throwing out one linear like his mama's life depending on it. This may not a good movie, but it sure is fun. On 39, X2 X-Men United. A big step up from the first X-Men both in production, values and quality. It still lacked much in the way of energy, which is inexcusable when you have got Alan coming as a teleporting mutant Nightcrawler all over your movie. On 38, Spider-Man. Sam Raimi truly assembled a prototypical superhero movie with this first entry in the Spider-Man franchise in 2002. Like X-Men before it, Spider-Man is a bit underwhelming today, but unlike X-Men, it was proud of its nerd roots. On 37, X-Men Apocalypse. Could have been a bizarrely ironic summer classic if it were the structure like a real movie and had only character development whatsoever. Instead, it's just a sort of visual and to a line that I will probably want to revisit at some point, but not when I am sober. On 36, Avengers Age of Ultron. Ultron is frustrating for what it lacks, chiefly and feeling that it's advancing the all-over story arc of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But as with the first Avenger movie, its weaknesses are overcome by great character work. On 35, The Avengers. The story is a total mess, relying heavily on moviegoer memories of previous MCU films. If you didn't remember or now coming in what the Ted Scott was, who boy. But the novelty of the Marvel's first big superhero team up was irresistible, and director George Whedon balanced it ensemble expertly, giving everyone plenty to do so none of them ever fades into the background. On 34, Blade. Poor B-movie trash, which is fine because that's precisely what it's aimed for, bloody crass awesome. Blade, by the way, remains the only black comic book character besides Shaquille O'Neal's still to get his and her own movie. Throughout Marvel's Black Panther is slated for a 2018 release. On 33, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. For the sequel, they trapped the crank director duo known as Neville Dan Taylor. It was an inspired choice because Spirit of Vengeance was exactly as nutty as you had hoped a PG-13 comic book movie would be. Shame that it was apparently stressful enough to break up an tandem of Mark Neville and Brain Taylor. On 32, Captain America, the first Avenger. A lot of folks like her complain that all superhero movies are the same, but this was actually a pretty good World War II movie too. On 31, Guardian of the Galaxy. Plot-wise, it's never really adds up to anything but the strength of the cast and the bizarre world they explore more than make up for it. On 30, Blade 2. Beloved Nat Guillermo del Toro took over for this one and ramped everything up to 11. More vampires, more blood, more people getting sliced up, and of course, baddies whose jaws can split open and swallow a person's head whole. On 29, Big Hero 6. Disney Animation Studio made a Marvel movie and it's really sweet. Sure, it's the kiddie version of Marvel, but that doesn't prevent it from being a whole satisfying experience. On 28, Captain Marvel. It's fine, but Captain Marvel feels like a movie from before Marvel Studio really hits its stride in Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Right now, it's a movie that seems very much out of place. On 27, Guardians of Galaxy Volume 2. An improvement of the first film and an absolute delight from moment to moment, but it never quite coalesces into a coherent whole because so many subplots distract from the core story and rob it of its emotional impact. Would be a top 5 comic book movie if it had just redined in the plot. On 26, Iron Man, it was Robert Downey Jr. reemergence on the big screen, and he's flawless in this origin story that takes Tony Stark from billionaire playboy weapon manufacturer to billionaire playboy other things manufacturer. On 25, Avengers Endgame. This movie is frustratingly far from perfect. In fact, it's kind of the huge mess, but it's also awesome and thrilling and hilarious and contains some individual moments that are perfect. I wish it was better, but with everything required of a movie that exists to wrap up to 21 movies worth of stories arc, I'm glad it's as good as it is. On 24, Hulk. In 2003, the modern wave of superhero movies was still in its infancy, and Lee, still the best filmmaker to do a comic book movie, got experimental with Hulk. And what he made was an incredible melodrama with visual stylings meant to epic comic book panels. It didn't sit well with audiences, but Hulk remains one of the most compelling and interesting Marvel movies to date. On 23, The Wolverine. This was like just a legitimately enjoyable melodramatic action movie. Sure, it turns into a video game boss battle by the end, but for most of its running time, it's just an actual movie. On 22, Punisher Warzone. Whereas the previous Punisher movie was melodramatic and contemplative, this one is just murderous. And it's awesome. On 21, Venom. How can anybody resist the pull of Tom Hardy doing comedy? This movie knows exactly what it's trying to be, and what it's trying to be is dumb and fun and nothing else. And it's extremely fun. On 20, X-Men Day of Future Past. Its time travel logic is a bit iffy, but Days of Future Past is still tremendously entertaining because while epic, it's not overly serious. As Back to the Future of us long ago, you can get away with a lot of logical leaps if you strike and right tone. On 19, Iron Man 2. Swaps Terrence Howard for Don Cheadle while Mickey Rourke breaks core with the laser V-ship. Who knows what was going on in this movie, but it was almost okay anyway. On 18, Deadpool. In the nasty and angry times who live in, Deadpool is perfect. Aggressively violent and flippantly mean-stripped. It's the exact emotional release was needed. On the main series, X-Men movies have never achieved any sort of greatness, but at least Doc Phoenix ends the whole thing with one of the best effort of the bunch. And the sequence on the train in the third act is easily the best action sequence of these movies. On 16, Spider-Man Far From Home. It's frustrating that it doesn't really deal with the immense fallout from Avengers Endgame, but it's still a visual, creative, and an any movie in the MCU, and Jack Gyllenhaal's Mysterio in a all-timer of a villain. Dude goes all the way out in this. On 15, X-Men First Class. The first X-Men movie that could be described as fun. It's basically two movies crammed into one story-wise, but director Matthew Vaughn touch is so breezy and enjoyable that it's totally work anyway, thanks in large part to a brilliant cast that includes Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, and Jam McCoy. On 14, Spider-Man Homecoming. Not quite that best Spider-Man movie, but still an absolute delight, with a cast full of scenes tellers. Michael Keaton as the Vulture makes for one of the best Marvel villains ever. On 13, Deadpool 2. While you may get whiplash from Deadpool sequels occasionally, very serious and emo scenes, the rest of the movie is thoroughly delightful, somehow managing to be ever and funnier and more hilarious violent than the original. On 12, Ant-Man. Ant-Man represented a first from the MCU by being a straight-up comedy, and it was a very good one with the cast that perfectly suited for it. Aside from Paul Rudd, who plays Ant-Man himself, Michael Pena is the true standout as Scott Lang's best friend and former cellmate. On 11, Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's ever so slightly frustrating that this one doesn't fully integrate into Infinity War situation, but even so, it's truly a delight. Evangeline Lilly is so good and the Wasp that I am ridiculously irritated that she didn't don the suit in the previous Ant-Man movie. On 10, Doctor Strange. If it were not hamstrung with all the requested elements of an origin story, Doctor Strange might have been the best Marvel movie ever. That's the power of the astonishing visual imaginations on the display here. People love to talk about the nebulous concept of the capturing some long lost childlike sense of wonder throughout the magic of cinema. Doctor Strange is one of the only movies I have watched as an adult that really accomplishes that. On 9, Spider-Man 2. This is a movie that fully understands its main character and taps into what made him such a captivating figure for as long. Yeah, Peter Parker a superhero, but he also a college kid working a minimum wage job to make rent while also taking university physics classes. Peter buckles under the pressure, something we can all relate to. On 8, Iron Man 3. As far as I'm concerned, that is the Iron Man movie. Somehow Shane Black was able to infiltrate the MCU and make a legitimate Shane Black movie with all the wit and raw humanity you had expected from him. It carries exactly the sort of authorial identity we should want all these movies to have. On 7, Thor Ragnarok. All throughout the light, this might be the most fun we had at the movies in all of 2017, and so we can't help but love it. On 6, Captain America Civil War. Multiply the two previous past Marvel movies by one another and you get Civil War. It packs the sort of emotional payoff all the disconnected Marvel movies can't really provide. And as an action film, it's easily the best of the superhero genre. On 5, Avengers Infinity War. You could certainly make the argument that Infinity War does not really hold up on as a complete movie on its own because it's kinda began with the second act. But I don't care. The culmination of this 10 years shared universe experiment should stand on the shoulders of the movie that came before it. The fact that this packs such a profound emotional punch, however, it was really makes it good. On 4, Black Panther. It's held back a little by being saddled with Strange's original movie issues. Introducing audiences to the world of Wakanda isn't a quick and easy task, and it could use an extra 15 to 20 minutes to flesh out the supporting characters, but still manages to be the most substantial superhero movie ever. It's kind of amazing that Disney let writer-director Ryan Coogler make this overt a political statement. It's the most openly political mega-budget movie I have ever seen. Also, while I'm listing superlative, Michael B. Jordan delivers the best performance ever in a superhero movie. Good lord. On number 3, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The best superhero movies and movies in general are the ones that are truly most human. And Spider-Verse, despite being animated, despite the wacky cast of Spider, people, despite the outlandish premise, is as real as movie gets. On to Logan. James Mangold's small-scale western is a game changer for the entire superhero genre, daring to draft a pretty much standard by which you expect these movies to operate. It's just a great movie by any normal standard. Where Civil Wars elevated the genre, Logan opts instead to be something else entirely, and we are all the better for it. On 1, Captain America the Winter Soldier. The Russo brothers who made their entrance to the MCU directing Winter Soldier before taking the regions of Civil War and eventually 2018. Avengers Infinity War really impressed with Winter Soldier. It's a classic spy thriller with a superhero twist. And Robert Redford as the bad guy is a really nice touch. Our goal to introduce you to every Hollywood movie and English TV series. Be express your opinion in comments below and let us know how you like our videos. If you have liked this informative video, then press the below like button and encourage us. Thanks for watching.